Hey guys, Real Randy Chavez here. I have some news, but this is going to be a Pokemon sales data video. The news, save to the end. If you want, comment, share, like, subscribe, favorite Pokemon, whatever it is. Getting right into it, base set Charizard had two different sales over the last 24 hours. One was a first edition PSA 6, sold for $4,000. PSA 6 sold for $4,000. This time last year, you could get a 9 for that. But now that's what a 6 is worth. 9 is worth probably around 15. And then we also had a first edition PSA 8 base Charizard, sold for $6,800. That was just within the last hour or so. That is freaking incredible. That's got, 120 PSA 10 copies and, 633 PSA 9 copies, which, can be a lot for, for WotC. And probably that 633, probably a good 50 of those minimum are 9s that are regraded and just gotten 9s again. We had a Dark Weezing first edition PSA 10, sold for $113. We had a Scyther from Jungle Set first edition PSA 9, sold for $232. We had Arcanine Black Star, that was mine. That the guy that I thought bought it for like $85, that was just his offer. For like a day, I just didn't accept, and I was like, the last one I sold for like $90, so I was like, all right, let me bump it up to $95. I counter offered $95. He bought it, so that was a sale. And then I also sold an Erica's Venusaur first edition PSA 9 for $450. It was $500 or best offer. They gave me they offered $450. I was like, okay. The next one of those I sell, after I send that out on Monday, or Tuesday, because Monday's a holiday. Thank you to all the veterans. And on the Monday, or on Tuesday, I'll set the next one at like 600, and then I'll take best offer. Best offer will be like 500 and above. Because the only other Erica's Venusaur first edition PSA 9s I see out there right now are like 700, 800 and above, which I don't think it's worth that yet. I think eventually that's a $1,000 card, because there's only 77 PSA 10 copies of that available. There are 322 PSA 9 copies, but again, once the 10 gets a little too out of reach, once it reaches, it's about worth $2,000 right now. Once it reaches like $3,000 or $4,000, it's a little harder of a pill to swallow. Dark Gyarados first edition PSA 9 from the Rocket set, sold for $130. We had Dark Charizard first edition PSA 9, sold for $866. Those 10s. And I did, not some math, I just did some looking up. There's 408 PSA 10 copies. So that last one that sold for $2,900, or the last two that sold for $2,900, that is incredible, considering that there's 408 of them. It's understandable when Blaine's Charizard, is like $3,000 to $3,500, because there's only 276 PSA 10 copies. You have 132 more copies of the Dark Charizard, and it's still getting almost $3,000. But it does have 1,136 PSA 9 copies. It's a lot of copies. And again, I don't even know if that one was regraded over and over, because that Rocket set was printed so much, even for the first edition. That probably a few of them, maybe 100 or 200. That's about it. And Giovanni's Persian first edition PSA 9, sold for $281.96. I was watching that auction, and I was like, going for $212? Like this is like, again, this should be, in my opinion, minimum $400 or $500 card. And I was like, should I buy it for like $250? But then $276 and $281, that came out in the last couple seconds. I was like, okay, at least people getting that. Sabrina's Alakazam, we had two of them. Both first edition, both PSA 9. First one sold for $154.30. Second one just recently sold for $152.50. So that's what that price point is. And I think if you're able to get that Sabrina's Alakazam first edition PSA 10 for under $500, that is a steal. I think that should be worth a lot more. Misty's Golduck. That is I'll get back to that, because I just wrote down some numbers. There's no additional sales of that. That person never got back to me. I was like, hey bro, what'd this sell for? He just didn't. I was like, all right, that's fair. Misty's Seadra first edition PSA 9, sold for $81. We had this is a Magneton base set Magneton first edition BGS 9. The only subgrade that got a 9 was the edges. We had the centering and the corners both got 9.5 subgrades, and the surface got 8.5, and that sold for $540. That most likely would have gone on to be a PSA 9 for crossed over. Makes sense. Koga's Beedrill, Koga's Kakuna. It's the one that is evolving into a Beedrill. That's like only card I've seen where it's evolving in the card. It's really cool. First edition PSA 10, again for the Kakuna, sold for $30. We had a Togetic from Neo Genesis, first edition PSA 10, sell for $540. Lieutenant Surge's Magneton, first edition PSA 10, sell for $301. And a Poliwrath from base set, first edition PSA 10, sell for $3,150. I think that's the record price point for that. If I didn't mention before, that base set Charizard PSA 6, $4,000 is record price point for that. It's... the 9 now for past couple months has been a 5-figure card. The 8 will get there eventually. There's a guy on E4 that he offered $55,000 for a first edition PSA 10 BGS Charizard, and I think he's negotiating right now. But there was someone on E4 which offered $200,000 for a first edition BGS 10 Charizard. Now there's only 2 of them. The only guy that has one is Gary from Pawn Stars King Pokemon. I don't think he said that was a great offer, and if it were anyone else, they probably would have taken it, but he didn't. He will die with those Charizards. Those are his babies. So there is a Gym Challenge set, holo set, all 20 holos, all first edition. 19 of them were PSA 10. The only one that wasn't was Erica's Venusaur first edition PSA 9, but this is the only complete set that I think that's on eBay right now, the holos anyway, and he has it on sale for $50,000. I asked him what his best offer was. He said he got $30,000 for it. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. Because, again, I measured it about a week or two ago. Fair market value, if you take, the average of each card individually, is probably around 20 grand. Maybe 22, if we're not being as conservative. So, but because there's no other set like that on eBay right now, even with the Erica's Venusaur being PSA 9, first edition, mostly 10 holo set, getting 30 grand, maybe he's not lying. Maybe that's correct. And that's incredible because, piece of news I was talking about before, I finally got for $100 my Sabrina Zabra, number 94, first edition, PSA 10. It was someone I had bought, I met on Reddit. I had bought from him before. I bought like a Rocket Zapdos, first edition, PSA 10, and I was in competition. Like, I messaged him last night. He's like, $60, all right, done. And then I went to bed, and then he's like, I got like 6 messages from him saying, like, this one guy wants to buy it for $70. If you don't have any objection, I'm going to sell it to him. So I messaged him this morning, like, no, $80, no, $100. And he's like, you give me $100, that's fine. Gave me his PayPal. Boom, done. So he'll send it out Tuesday. Again, he can't Sunday or Monday because holiday, but Tuesday I'll send it out. Hopefully I'll get it sometime during the week, like Friday, Saturday. If I don't get it till the week after, that's fine. And that is my full Gym Challenge set. That hair is doing something crazy. And I will sell the whole thing. 132 cards, first edition PSA 10. I think it's the only set like it in the world. I'd mentioned that on E4. Nobody else has that right now. And I'm going to list it for 70 grand, knowing that before I messaged that guy for the Gym Challenge set, I thought it, taking everything together, probably would have been about 30 grand. But if he's getting that just for the holos, and then one of those holos is a PSA 9, I think someone could offer me $45,000 for it, 50. I mean, someone could just be like, you know what? They have a lot of money and they just don't have the time to. They don't want to take a year or so. Because again, this is if they have a lot of capital. It took me 2 years to do it, and that's me with not as much money as a lot of these other guys. And maybe they just say, you know what? I can get this right now. Nobody else has it. It's impossible. It's unique. It's the only one in the world. So maybe they do 50, 60, whatever it is. I'll set the bidding for, or best offer. And if they offer 40, I'll entertain the offer. They could offer that, and I'll be like, I'll do 65 or 60, and then they'll go back and forth. There's so much taxes. It's gonna be taken out of that. Even if I get 50, 40 is what I'll wind up with. But anyway, that's not 100% sure what I'll do with that. There's this Trophy Kangaskhan PSA 6. It's on sale for 30 grand. That's what it's listed at. And I asked him what his best offer was. He said he hasn't gotten any yet. was like, okay, no offers, and I would probably pay 15 for that. And he said, the minimum he would take is 20. I was like, okay, that's fair. So I told you guys I was going to do a market cap video, and this is just a couple of them, just see how you guys like it. Market cap for a company traded on the stock exchange is just like, okay, based on these amount of shares that are available and what they're going for, the market cap is this. So I did something similar with some Pokemon cards. Now, if we go to Giovanni's Persian, which has 51 PSA 10 copies, and let's say, they go for 2,500 each. 2,500 times 51. Giovanni's Persian has a market cap of $127,000. For the PSA 10, for all of them. And that's not including the 283 PSA 9 copies. Didn't do the math for how much, that would be. 281 times 251 math. But we're looking at, $127,000 market cap for all. If you took all the PSA 10s together, that's what you would have to pay in order to. And that's at $2,500, which I think that card is worth much, much more. Like $4,000 at least for me. So Blaine's Charizard, 276 PSA 10 copies, just at $3,000, just at $3,000. Not the $3,500, which it probably is $828,000. And why I'm doing this is because regardless of how much each card is worth, the lower the pop, the higher it's going to be. Misty's Golduck is worth more than Blaine's Charizard per card. Because let's say it's $4,500 for that Misty's Golduck, and only $3,500 or $3,000 for Blaine's Charizard. That's what the market cap at. That doesn't mean Misty's Golduck is worth more than Charizard overall. Because overall, there's a lot more Blaine's Charizards, and Misty's Golduck has a market cap. It's even at $4,500 per card at 48 cards, $216,000 market cap. So if there was only 48 PSA 10 Charizards, like it was really hard to grade, Blaine's Charizard, that market cap would skyrocket. That would be insane. If there was 276 copies of, Misty's Golduck, that market cap would be, it wouldn't get to the 4,500. It might get not even 1,000. It would be like Lieutenant Surge's Pikachu, which is, a couple $100. So that's just something that I've been playing around with. It's interesting. It's basically used to see what is the most coveted card, which card is worth the most in any set. You could usually use this, I think, to be able to tell which card is most wanted, not which one's worth the most, which one is most wanted, and that's what the market cap I think does. Again, I only did it for these few cards right now. I might do it for others in the future, but this is something that, again, no one else has done, no one else is doing. Let me know if you guys like it. I will talk to you guys later. I'll let you know when I list that full set. I already took pictures of the first 90 cards, and I can't wait to get that other one, number 94, so I can take the rest of the pictures. All right, guys, I love you all. I'll talk to you later. All right, bye.